Hi guys, Happy New Year. I can't believe it's already 2023 and this is the first episode I'm recording this year, and I really want to take a moment to reflect on 2022 and really let you guys know what my plans and goals are for 2023. Hopefully this will help you and inspire you to do the same, and we can have an amazing new year together. Woo, let's make 2023 count. Hey beauty lovers and fellow entrepreneurs, I'm Yegi, the owner and founder of Yegi Beauty. Within 5 years of being my own boss, I was able to grow Yegi Beauty into a multi-million-dollar company. This podcast is where I share what it takes to be a successful entrepreneur in the beauty industry. So yesterday, I finally had a chance to actually sit down and journal and reflect on my year. Honestly, this is an exercise I love to do once a month, but in 2022, it really has been a hectic year for me. A lot of change, a lot of ups and downs, more than COVID, honestly, for me. It just felt like I was all over the place. I started new projects. I didn't want to give up some old projects, maybe that I should have. I had another baby, so all of that good stuff happened in 2022, but I was really feeling like kind of a mess, a clutter in my mind and my brain. So, and I think just because I haven't gotten the chance, the time, the energy to really even sit down to do my reflecting and journaling and like really just focusing and thinking about everything this whole year, right? Or in 2022. So again, that's an exercise I usually do every month, every few months, at least, to really like check in with myself. Where am I? How am I feeling? Why am I doing things the way I'm doing? Can I change and adapt in anything that's going to make me happier or my life better? Is there something that's really bothering me that I need to work on or let go of? So these are things that I actually sit down and think about, like I said, periodically. But in 2022, I really didn't get a chance to do this much. I was just really like go and hustling, mainly because of a lot of sleepless nights with 2 little kids. Again, I don't want to complain. I know it's normal, but we all know if we're not getting sufficient sleep, that could be like even just one key reason for us to be less happy or have less energy and therefore be able to accomplish less or feel more on top of and in control of your mind and your body. So that really hit me hard in 2022. I didn't really think going from 1 kid to 2 kid was going to be that much different as far as my time and energy and how consuming it was going to be with extra sleepless nights. Now, instead of 1 person, 2 people keep on waking us up. But yeah, so that was my biggest challenge in 2022. But we made it, right? And I feel like I'm getting closer and closer, and we're almost there with having decent amount of sleep. So hopefully 2023, unless I'm crazy, which I kind of am, I do want another baby. But yeah, I think at least the first half of 2023 will get some more sleep and I could feel more, I have more control over my life. But anyways, let's get back to what I was saying. So I like to do the journaling thing, right, regularly. 2022 wasn't able to do much of that, and I really felt it. So literally this past week or so, I've been really trying to record this episode, but I've been procrastinating it. And also I've been short on time, but I think part of me was procrastinating it because I'm like, I don't know how I feel. I haven't even had a chance to really reflect for myself to know what I thought about 2022 and what my goals are for 2023. Really, I had a general idea, but I hadn't gotten a chance to really sit down and think about it. And that's what I kind of challenge all of you to do, hopefully after this podcast. But I finally forced myself, and yesterday I did that. It was my day off. My kid had daycare again. The other one, I was able to get some babysitting. You guys could probably hear it from my voice. Getting sick back to back this season hasn't been easy either. Thank you, toddlers. But here we are. Anyways, so I finally got a chance to sit down yesterday and really reflect and see what I was doing, what I was thinking and feeling about 2022 and what I really wanted to do for 2023. And long story short, honestly, and in other episodes, I do talk about the challenges of, again, bringing in another member to our family, having all those challenges of being a parent again, but now to 2 kids instead of 1, and also how it took a physical toll on my body, on my confidence, on all of that too. But besides that main challenge for me, I think just me really being committed to growing the business and adding back the services part of my business was also a lot of pressure for me. With one person trying to accomplish so much, I had 0 time to think and reflect. And this is what I coach and tell other people to do too. Make sure you have time for yourself to really think about what you're doing, to take proper steps and actions instead of just going, and then you're so busy you don't even realize why you're so exhausted. You're almost working harder and not smarter. So that was my conclusion, that first I need to figure out a way to get more sleep so I can be more rested in order for me to think more clearly and overall function better. So honestly, it's an easy solution, but I decided, okay, definitely I'm going to start looking for a nanny that at least can be there at night, so I can get a decent, at least 5-6 hour stretch of sleep again, so I could function. Then everything will already be better, right? Again, simple solution, but sometimes we don't think about it, or I wasn't sure if I can afford it with my current resources, with all the new projects I'm doing. But I sat down, thought about it, and that was the best solution right now, because if that big obstacle is out of my way, then I can definitely focus and grow everything else. So that was one main thing that was like, oh yeah, well, duh. But I didn't think of it until I sat down and really analyzed what's my key thing that needs change as soon as possible. Next, again, I started up the salon services again, and this one I had kind of realized a little bit earlier, and I do mention in the previous podcast, but it was hiring more employees to help me with the services part. Although it will take some more investment and some more time for it to break even and make money, but it is a business, and that's normal in business. I rather do that than drive myself crazy and do the day-to-day work instead of focusing on the big picture and growing my company. So that was another huge lesson that I learned in 2022. That I want to do different, because in the past I feel like a lot of times I could work harder but not smarter. Although I've been aware of working smarter and I've made changes this year, with me being so busy and so consumed, and again, not my best year personally, emotionally and mentally, I realized I fell back on a lot of good habits and practices that I was doing in the past, where everything was working out a lot better. So this year I needed like these reminders for myself in order to regroup, make new habits, and do things a smarter way again, instead of the longer, harder way. Another thing I started kind of thinking about as I was reflecting was I was feeling angry. I'm not an angry person. I'm such a happy person overall. I'm grateful. I'm blessed. I have so much good in my life. But I was feeling angry lately. And again, the lack of sleep and being sick back to back could definitely add up to that. But I didn't know what to do about it. I was like, okay, well, everything's fine. Like, why am I angry? Who am I angry at? Am I angry at myself? Like, what's going on? So one other thing that I remember that I used to do very regularly that I let go of in 2022 was actually my self-care with exercise and yoga and running. Okay. So specifically, this was what I used to do anytime I needed to really clear my head and kind of have a restart. And I actually was able to do that yesterday, and I felt so much better afterwards. So here it is. So first, I literally just put on my headphones, put on my running shoes, and I just go for a run. Even if I don't feel like it, 'cause a lot of times when we need the exercise or the run or anything like that, we mostly are not going to feel like it. So I just force myself to put on the shoes, put on my headphones, and go outside. I started off with kind of a walk, and then it turned into a power walk. And as I went listening to the music that I like, it kind of pushed me to want to run. And then I started running and running, and it was almost like, what am I running to or from? But it felt so good, almost like a release of like that anger or that frustration, or I don't know, whatever was built up in me throughout this I want to say probably the last quarter of the year. It had added up too much from 2022 with everything that was going on. But yeah, so I did that. I ran, and something inside of me actually also that helps is like I want to scream, like almost just like a release, like ah. So literally I did that, even though I felt crazy doing it, but I started just yelling, honestly, screaming out, just like letting go and releasing any of that anger and frustration that was built up. I wanted to really do this before the year ended, so I kind of reset and start fresh in 2023. Okay, so I did that, and then afterwards, once I made my circle and got back home, I was still feeling like I needed something, I just needed a little bit more, but I was already feeling so good after that run. And this was only like a 20-30 minute thing that I did, but I got home and I have a punching bag actually, and I used to kickbox, which was amazing. I think it was also helping me back in the day to really like let go of anything that was frustrating or stressful throughout my day as well. But again, hadn't gotten a chance to do that in forever. But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna put on my boxing gloves, even though I have so many obstacles in front of that punching bag cluttered in my garage because I haven't used it for a while. I'm gonna just shove things aside and at least be able to get like few punches in. So then I did that. Again, made me feel amazing. And that reminds me, the break rooms are also great to let go and release any frustration or stress that you may have too. So look up break rooms near you, and you can go smash and break things, even though it seems angry, but it actually is almost, I don't know, it's very therapeutic, so try it if you haven't. But anyway, so it's kind of like the same feeling. So I started punching the bag, I started kicking. It made me actually feel really like in control of my life again. It made me feel like, yes, I got this, and I'm hitting, I'm punching, I'm kicking. It's almost like I'm breaking down all these obstacles that were in my head with why I'm feeling angry, stressed, frustrated. I don't know what I was even feeling, but I think just really cluttered in my mind. A lot of things were kind of built up and bothering me that were not really big deal, but I needed to let go of it. I needed to recognize it. I needed to address it and move on. And by being so busy, not having time to even think about certain things, we don't realize how much gets kind of cluttered in our minds. So anyway, so I did that next. After that, I was feeling amazing. I was feeling like I was on top of the world. I can kick ass again. I'm a leader, got my power and energy back. But then something inside of me wanted to actually just relax after that. So I was like, okay, the next thing I would always do too was yoga. Very plain, simple yoga, mainly to just stretch it out and just really like clear my mind. So then that's what I did next. And again, after the yoga, to be honest, I wasn't able to do the full session. I just did like 5 minutes of it, but that even helped make me feel better. I think I need to build back that skill again. But again, not being able to exercise at all, or barely, like maybe a couple of runs or walks here and there in 2022, it was a very nice way to end that year and start the new year fresh with taking care of my mind and my body. So I did that, and then I took a really nice long therapeutic with my eucalyptus essential oil. That's my favorite. I took a bath. I really cleared my head, and then I was ready to like really sit down and journal and think about everything and figure everything out and start getting inspired and motivated again for 2023. So here's literally like something specific that you can do if you're really feeling like you need a reset. Is those all of those things that I did, or maybe some of it, or find something that would work for you. But you need to find your thing that's going to help you reset. And I've used these tools throughout my life in order to do that at a lot of points of my lives, because I feel like I've done a lot, and every time I've felt like I was in need of a reset, I use these tools. But again, in 2022, I didn't get a chance to until the very end or the very beginning of this year. So I feel so much better, and I hope this will help you guys kind of have a tool to kind of start your 2023 off great, feeling great, to and inspired and motivated and excited about the future, because that's what really we need to do. We need to have things to look forward to, goals to have, to work on, because as humans, as people, unless we're continuously developing and growing, learning, we're not going to be happy. Even if we're handed $1 billion and the perfect home, I promise you, you are not going to be happy unless you keep developing, you keep growing, you keep learning. So really take the time to figure out what you want 2023 to be for you. And sometimes that's easier said than done. So then I started thinking, I was like, okay, it's been a minute since I did this. What do I want from 2023? Of course, I want to be happy, right? That's the first thing that comes to my head. I just want to feel happy. I want to feel happy throughout the whole year, or I want to feel happy all the time, constantly. But again, that's not realistic. But what I could do is I can work on things that will provide more happiness on the more days to come, compared to feeling sad or depressed or angry or whatever, or I don't know, lack of confidence, whatever it is that is a negative emotion versus the positive emotions that lead to happiness. So anyways, so I started thinking, okay, what do I want to accomplish in 2023? Let's go back and regroup with my dream board, with my vision of what I want. So then I really had to sit back and first think about everything that I was grateful for. And of course, there's the obvious ones: my health, my family, my kids, my business, my home, my friends, all of that stuff. And then I started thinking, okay, I need to really get in tune with that good feeling in me in order to be able to be motivated to set more goals for next year. So then I started really thinking all the little tiny things that I am grateful for, like even the it's not really tiny, but we do take it granted for, but even for me to be able to walk, to eat, to smell, to enjoy the sunrise in the morning. So all the little things that I can acknowledge to see the beauty in the world really started uplifting me and helped me to start to kind of see a nice big new vision and dream for me in order to start my 2023 right. So when I started thinking about, okay, what are some of my goals for 2023? Okay, so the first thing that comes to mind is happiness, right? That's the ultimate goal for all of us, is happiness. But then I started thinking, so what does happiness really mean to me now? Because it does change and shift as we get older, wiser, or our goals and our priorities change. So then I had to really think about this again and again. We should do this at least annually, but I really would recommend it monthly. But that may not be realistic. So let's do it quarterly or annually, and really set a time apart to do this. Anyway, so now that I'm finally doing this, I asked myself, so what does happiness mean to me now? And I decided, okay, well, that could be a very simple but complicated question. So let me at least break it down to what does my ideal day look like, my week look like, and my overall year look like in order for me to feel content and happy with myself. So then I started thinking, okay, what does my ideal day look like? What time will I wake up? What will I do part of my morning routine? Will I make sure I have breakfast? Will I make sure I stretch, wake up before the kids so I could get a little bit of control of my life by myself, have a little me time before the day gets started? What would my ideal morning look like that I would literally feel so good once I could do this? So then I started breaking that down for myself. Then I read it again and I thought about it. Okay, is this realistic? Because any goal that's not realistic, it's not going to happen, or it's less likely to happen. But if it's realistic, where you know that you can do this goal and it's not a major change from what you're currently doing, then that's a realistic goal. and you will accomplish it. But let's say I wake up normally at 8 a.m. and I get the kids ready, get out of the house by 8:30. Now, me saying realistically I want to wake up at 6 a.m., that really might not be realistic as my initial morning routine plan. So then to be realistic, I'll change it to, okay, I'm going to wake up at 7:30, maybe, 32 minutes to 15 minutes difference from my current situation. And I'll work myself up to that 6 a.m. if that is my goal, right? So be realistic with your goals to make sure it happens, even if they're micro, tiny goals that you achieve or habits that you're establishing. It's going to make you feel good, and it's going to motivate you and encourage you to do more and more and more. So start small and build on that skill. So I wrote down my ideal day, what it would look like. And then I wrote down my ideal week, what it would look like. Where would I fit in, spending playtime with the kids, having a date night, having some me time. Getting weekly massages is really important to me for my body. I get really tense and sore from doing, a lot of computer work, lash work, a lot of coaching, a lot of even just carrying kids around. I get a lot of tension, so that's important to me. Where do I fit this in? Can I fit it in on Mondays, my days off? So realistically, I planned out my ideal week, what it would look like, and what are some of the time-consuming calendar items I would put on there. Again, I had to be super realistic and visually look at the week calendar and see, okay, this is what I have time for and this is what I don't have time for, and I'm going to prioritize those important things to me and fit it in. Because also a lot of times I realize, again, a big lesson that I learned and I keep relearning is that there's just so much I could do, and that's it. There's so much I could do, and I need to be happy with what I can accomplish within that time period. So I need to be realistic with how much I'm biting or putting on my plate in order for it to get done and for me to be happy. So by putting everything in a scheduled, timely, organized calendar manner, it really keeps me in check for me to be realistic with how much I could get done. Then I'm happy about it. But in my head, if I have unrealistic goals and I set 80 things to do before morning, most likely that's not going to happen because it's not realistic. Then it's going to make me feel bad. And then by making me feel bad, I'm less likely to try to do more goals or try to accomplish more. So again, realistic is the goal, and really setting it in a realistic calendar so you can see estimated how much time certain things are going to take and give you some cushion room is what's really going to help you to have a really good ideal day, week, schedule, and so on. So that was the next thing I did. Then I started thinking, okay, so how about general picture? So this is what my weeks look like. This is what my day would look like. How about just overall my year? Like, is there any vacations I want to take? What do I want to do? That's going to be, a bigger chunk of my calendar year. So I wrote down, the ideal vacations that I want to take. And if it's realistic this year for budget wise, time wise, kids wise, all of that. So then I set that aside. So then again, now I have something fun and exciting to plan that I can look forward to. Again, that was a key to ways we can be happy on the day-to-day is if we have things to look forward to, right? Another episode, check it out if you haven't. So next, after that, I was like, okay, now kind of like bigger items, right? So I needed some more. I wanted to do more to kind of dream bigger. So I was like, okay, for me personally, every time I thought about my dream house, that has always motivated me and encouraged me to work harder in order to accomplish that. So then I decided to really try to do like a dream board of my dream house. So in the past, I've done this, but as I've evolved, my dream house has also evolved, or my next dream house that I realistically might be able to purchase has evolved. So I decided to literally go find pictures of exactly the living room that I want. Not exact, but a very good idea of what I would really want, and really put piles of pictures together of what I kind of want my future dream house to look like. And then that inspired me to again work hard in 2023, keep pushing, not give up, all that good stuff for me to keep going. So again, I took a picture for a dream kitchen, a backyard. For me, like I want to have like a ballroom because it sounds grand, but it doesn't have to be anything too crazy. But I want a ballroom in my next future dream house because I love hosting. I love bringing people together. I love having parties and really like socializing. So I thought, why not put a ballroom on my dream board, dream house, hopefully that I can work towards. Anyways, so those are the things, very specific. I realized that I need to be in order for me to really accomplish what I want and what I get. And I do really believe in that law of attraction. I don't know, there's a lot of things people call it, the power of the mind, law of attraction, spirituality, I don't know, affirmations, visualization. I don't know too much technical words and terms, but I know anytime I've strongly believed and clearly visualized and imagined and planned for whatever goal that I have, it has happen. It has come true. Of course, through hard work and through dedication and not giving up, but it has happened anytime I've been very clear on what I want. So that's another key element I want to share with you guys. Make sure you're super clear on your goals and your dreams of what you want so you can actually clearly work towards it. And a really popular quote that I like to say and use is, imagine having a destination. If you don't have an address to a destination you're going, where are you going to go? You're going to get in the car, you're just going to drive around aimlessly. But if you have a specific destination, you can put it in the GPS and go straight to that destination, right? So make sure, or you at least have clear steps. Make a right here, make a left here, make this stop, or take this detour. But at least if you have an end destination, you end up having a much better plan to end. You'll be able to accomplish your goals. Another thing I did in order for me to like feel empowered and kind of like start my year kind of kick-ass mode, I started also having my ideal workday. So what does my ideal workday look like? What does my business look like? Who are my employees? What is their personalities? How do we all get along? What's the culture? What's my beliefs? What are our goals and charts and numbers? What is ideally that I want to see within 2023? So then I can really narrow down and see what's important to me in order for me to try to accomplish in my work, career, business, in my professional area, right? Again, realistic is the key, but I sat down and really clearly defined all of that of what's important to me and where I want to be headed with my work. So make sure you're also spending time in that. The key question is to keep asking yourself questions until your goals and your dreams and your vision is super clear. But one reminder too, sometimes we don't have to be too specific of what we want and what we attract. So let's say my dream home had a grand ballroom with 80 windows. Well, that's not too many, 8 windows. But then I should be open to maybe having a ballroom instead of 8 windows for it to have 2 windows and an extra skylight. I don't know, that's a random example, but be specific enough of what you want, but not so narrow-minded where you don't see opportunities around you for maybe better or different possible blessings and opportunities. Okay, for this last part, I want to just kind of ask and answer some questions about reflecting for 2022. So first question is, what is the biggest lesson you learned? For me, the biggest lesson I learned, I think, is to not fall back on old habits. I realized since I've been really busy and kind of all over the place with a lot of change for me in 2022, I fell back on some bad old habits. So I kind of started watching more TV at nights, which I had cut out TV totally from my life. I started, I think, not working out. I started kind of ignoring my very detailed to-do list to stay on top of everything just because, again, I felt like I was too tired or too busy to do that. So I think the biggest lesson I learned is to be careful to not sign up for more than you can handle so you don't fall back into bad old habits. The next question is, what did I let go of in 2022? So honestly, I don't think I let go of much besides the feeling of feeling and looking perfect. I think in the past, it has always been more important to me to kind of like feel put together and look perfect, presentable. But this year, or in 2022, I think I let go of that. But it was really freeing to not feel like I always have to have my makeup on or my hair fixed or dressed really nice before I get in front of the camera, even, for example, or just even to leave the house. I started feeling more okay with not feeling like I look perfect, and I was happy with that. And I think just getting older and more confident and really just accepting myself for who I am and how I look without being put together with hair and makeup has really helped me to accomplish that. I think I'm still kind of working on that, but for the most part now I feel comfortable being barefaced. And I think that was really important for me to feel like I can let go of feeling like I need to look perfect all the time. All right, the next question is, what skills did I gain? Well, honestly, for 2022, I think the main skill I gained was parental skills. So I learned how to discipline a toddler, how to potty train a toddler. And honestly, when I do something, I like to really like feel like I know what I'm doing. So I sat down, researched, read about, asked people, really learned. So I'm going to call it a skill of how I discipline my child, the potty training, how to manage two kids with playing each other, like very little kids with not understanding much, but how to play together. So a lot of parental skills I learned. I also learned how to, I want to say, hire employees in a better way, a better skill set. And I think that happened from a lot of practice. And I think this year it finally clicked to me that for certain positions, it's okay to hire temporary or hire people on a temporary basis, or at least trial basis, even if it's paid, and then decide if they're the best candidate to join your team permanently and fully. So I think that's another skill I gained. I would want to gain a lot more skills, but this makes me also think for 2023, maybe I should have a goal of what skills I want to build, because if I'm going to answer this question again next year, I want to have some new skills. But other skills that I built in my profession was, I think, since I started back to salon services and I'm more really hands-on involved with a lot of clients and lash artists, I built on more skills of my profession. So different styles, different products, what people are looking for. So I think a lot of technical skills for my field, which is super, super helpful for me to grow my company. So the next question is, what challenges did I have and how did I overcome it? Well, my biggest challenge was actually having my second baby and finding myself and balancing everything with having two little tiny kids and a business to run. So I think that was my biggest challenge, because it led to very little sleep overall between a toddler, like 2 under 2, and a newborn. I was getting very little sleep. So that was my biggest challenge of how to make the best of the little energy I had left in order to do everything else. The biggest challenge of balancing those, I don't know if I 100% overcame that, but I definitely got better and better and more close to having the balance I need by either asking for help from family members, like my mom, my husband's mom, my husband, myself, like really scheduling out who's gonna watch the kids, for me to schedule out some time for me to work or for my personal self, and all of that stuff. So I think I've gotten better at it with functioning better with less sleep, but it did really add up, and we've talked about that earlier in the podcast. But what plan I have to ultimately get rid of that challenge is to actually hire a nanny, and I've planned very carefully around this with budgeting and all of that to make sure that I'm making the right decision. But I am, because this is ultimately what's going to help me at least get some sleep in the middle of the night, at least like a 5-hour stretch, so I can function and be better parent, better boss, better entrepreneur, better person, all of that throughout the day. Okay, so that's how I'm going to fully overcome it, but almost there. So the next question, it has to do with physical and mental health. So what did it look like in 2022? Honestly, I think my physical and mental health was really lacking in 2022. So that's one thing I really want to work on for 2023. And the reason why I was lacking, I know it had a lot to do with me feeling so tired all the time because of the lack of sleep, and I accept it. I'm not mad at it. I'm a little disappointed in myself, but it's not my fault. I could do only as much as I could do, right? Again, some of my goals is to focus back on my physical and my mental health. However, I'm gonna, be realistic and try to plan out and schedule out times that I can fit those in order to feel great. And like no other time, it's been proven to me that honestly, my physical and mental health is so important for me to really be happy and successful in all the areas of my life. So it's been proven to me when that's lacking, everything else also starts to lack. So again, super important, top priority for me in 2023. Of course, unless I have another kid and more sleepless nights. Just kidding. Well, no, I do want more kids, but my solution is to have somebody at nights at my house that can help me with the baby. Okay, so we have a solution. Okay, so funny thing about this next question is, what did I learn about myself? Now, what I learned wasn't great, but very useful, okay? So I learned that I don't put things away. So my husband pointed that out. Actually, I was doing some research about habits, and I asked him, I was like, hey babe, do I have any bad habits? Like, I want to work on myself. If I have bad habits, I want to break them and test these theories that I'm reading in this book. So he pointed that out, and I was like, oh shoot, how did I never notice this? He's like, well, yeah, because I pick up after you, but blah, blah, blah. But I could tell that it bothered him. So I learned about myself that I may not be the best person to put things away after myself, because I'm always in a rush. I'm go. But I need to pay attention to it, and there's always something I can work on. And of course, being mindful of everybody that's in the household to make sure that our bad habits are not affecting them. I think for me, I actually I went backwards with my habits. I gained some of my bad habits back, and I talked about that earlier. Something is to actually just watch TV to relax instead of exercising or reading. So I fell back on those bad habits, which again, I started working on again to go forward again. But some good habits that I built is, I think, to be more realistic with myself of how much I can do and accomplish, and that for me to set out exactly the days, times that it takes to fully finish one project before taking on the next project. I think this is always going to be kind of a working progress for me to fully complete one thing before I jump on to the next. It's just my personality to just jump on things and keep wanting to do a lot. But I think that's a new habit that I built, and I'm keep working on, is to finish one thing and only do one thing without feeling so overwhelmed before I go on to the next. The best and the worst things that happened this year, I would have to say the best thing was on 2/2/2/2/2 was when my daughter was born, and also when I officially committed and this podcast officially was born. It does give me so much joy to spread my journey and help other people to really grow personally and in business development with the podcast. So I'm so happy. Those are my two main best things I think that I did that happened this year. Oh, and also I committed to opening up the salon services again. My goal is to have multiple locations to really, really set it as a different type of business model. So I'm working on that. I think that's another best thing that happened for me to come to that conclusion that this is the path I want to take. And I'm really built to just build businesses and invest in businesses. So I think, that's the best thing that happened for me to get that clear vision of where I'm going. And the worst thing I want to say has to be with a lot of the changes that happened with employees, and I don't know, I guess it's the best and worst thing with a lot of change in my work. But it's given, when I'm not fully clear and committed or clear on my path, then things get shuffled and messed up within my work life as well. So it makes sense. I accept it. And I'm going to work on it to really clear and set those goals for 2023 of what I want it and everybody to be within my company. The next question is, how did I grow? Oh, wow. Did I grow? I think my family size grew in 2022. My resilience to keep going grew in 2022, given a lot of new challenges. My confidence grew that I can handle more and more as I got through challenges. I think those are my big main growths for this year, and those are huge ones. And lastly, the question I want to answer is, what are you grateful for? And I did kind of mention in this podcast that I decided to fully make a new list of everything I'm grateful for. And some things, again, I will mention is my family, my kids. I'm even grateful for myself and my energy and my employees, my friends, my environment, my office, even having access to good, positive people. I'm grateful for this podcast, for people who come on it, share their stories, inspire others. I am just so grateful, so blessed, just really just tuning into that feeling of gratefulness. Even right now, I feel so uplifted. Literally last night too, when I was doing the journaling of the grateful list that I can refer to when I'm feeling down, I even listed literally my daybed on my balcony that I can just literally sit and look at the trees. I'm so grateful for that I can have access to that. I can have access to fresh air, to water, to food, just even every little thing, even the pain that I feel, even the sadness that I feel sometimes. I'm grateful for that because it does help me grow and realize what I want, what I don't want, where I'm going. I don't know. I'm just grateful for so much at the moment. And again, we need to really tune in and really get into this mindset of gratitude when we're feeling good, to really make this gratitude list so we can refer to it when we're feeling down. And that's a tool that I use all the time to remind myself that I have all these things that I'm grateful for. Why am I being sad or upset at the moment? To look at the brighter side, almost like a reminder for myself, a letter to myself. So that's that. I hope, honestly, you guys enjoyed this episode. I shared a lot of what I do and how I feel and how crazy 2022 was for me. But again, definitely a growth year in many different ways. So take my lessons, apply it to you, answer the questions that I answered for myself. I hope it gives you clarity and motivation and inspiration to really make your goals and dreams and kick ass in 2023. Well, thank you for listening. Until next time, bye. Thank you for listening. Please rate and review this podcast. Follow and engage with us on social media under the Yegi Project. And if you're interested in being a guest, email info@theyegiproject.com, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future episodes.